Let me paint you a picture. You're standing at the base of a beautiful mountain. It's a clear day. No fog, no mystery. You can see the trail and you can see the summit. That summit represents the next level of your life. The golfer you know you're capable of being, the business owner with more income, freedom, more peace. That summit represents the version of you that finally feels aligned instead of constantly fighting yourself. There's no confusion about what to do. Clear day, you know the path. You've studied the map. Heck, you've watched others take it. And yet, as you begin your journey to reach that summit, it's as if every step feels harder, heavier, slower than it should. Not because you don't know where you're going, not because you don't know how to get there, not because you're anything but incapable of summiting this mountain. The reason that every step begins to feel more challenging, more difficult, the closer you get to that summit is because you are attempting to climb to the top of this mountain with a backpack filled with heavy rocks. Each rock, it is invisible, yet incredibly real. And these rocks are symbolic to represent old beliefs, unresolved fear, pressure to not only get to the top, but to get to the top in a timely fashion, to do it the right way. Each rock represents a fear of judgment, fear of success, fear of falling short. Again, the higher you climb, the heavier the path begins to feel. And that's when something dangerous starts to happen. Even though you can still see the summit, it begins to feel further away than ever before. And because you're hardwired and programmed to do so, your mind starts to look for relief. And this is where self-sabotage disguises itself as logic. You convince yourself to take a different trail. Maybe this path isn't the right path for me. You end up stopping short of even starting. You know what? It's not the right weather, actually. It's not the right time. I'll begin when things calm down. Or perhaps you get significantly close to the top and then decide to turn around. You know what? That last stretch, it's not worth it. This is good enough. You slow your pace because you're watching everyone else sprint past you, different fitness, different gear, different timelines. And eventually you reach a point where you begin questioning whether the mountain is even worth climbing at all. Not because you don't want the summit, because carrying the weight that you have in your pack has made this climb feel absolutely unbearable. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because here's the truth that most high performers, just like you, never hear. You're not failing because you lack discipline, talent, or definitely not information. You're struggling because you're trying to ascend to the top of your summit, your next level success, while dragging an entire backpack filled with unexamined, limiting beliefs, fears, and destructive mindset programs in your effort to get to the top. You're exhausting yourself at a ridiculously fast pace, trying to climb with all of these unexamined patterns and beliefs. And it's not until you pause, become aware of what is in your bag, and do the work necessary to let it go, toss it off the side of the mountain, if you will, that you'll finally find your sustainable success, your summit and next level experience of success, low scores, happiness, confidence, and everything it is that you desire. Welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist. I'm a mindset and performance coach, as well as a credentialed hypnotherapist. And I help high-performing individuals just like you dismantle the destructive mindset programs, keeping them stuck in a perpetual pattern of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I'm so grateful that you're choosing to spend this time with me. I'm proud of you for making this time for you. And like I always do, I encourage you to take notes while you're listening. And if you're driving, please don't. Do it after. Come back, listen to these episodes. There's a lot of things that I share. Maybe they don't land or aren't quite digested the first time. And candidly, sometimes I speak a million miles an hour. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of opportunity for you to grab a nugget or 3, to sit with it, digest it, chew on it, and initiate the subtle mindset shift or reframe you need to get 1% better today, tomorrow, and every day after. Now, I want to revisit this analogy because this analogy is incredibly powerful. This analogy of summiting the mountain encompasses all of the work necessary to achieve your unique summit of success in every domain of life. And I want to break it down, really using this analogy to provide you with a blueprint and a more clear framework around what it is you need to do when I refer to doing the work to continue to get out of your own way and experience next level success. Now, when I began with that simple example, climbing, traversing the mountain, clear path, understanding where to go, I said something very important. I mentioned to you that it was a clear day, meaning beautiful weather. Not a cloud in sight, easy to see the top of the mountain, making it incredibly clear about where to go, what to do, how to get there. You see, the problem that so many of you face, you, the listener right here, right now, face, is you are trying to summit your mountain in incredibly foggy, cloudy weather. That fog in this case is representative of all of the emotional baggage that you are carrying. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more times. Emotion is literally energy in motion. And the first low-hanging fruit level that you need to look inward and identify and address when trying to summit your mountain is which emotions are constantly hijacking the steering wheel of your life, the steering wheel of your day, influencing your decisions and your actions. When you are trying to move forward with immense amounts of anxiety or are carrying shame, embarrassment, stress, anger, agitation, resentment, bitterness, that robs you of clarity. That robs you of self-trust, self-confidence. It robs you, most importantly, of clarity, certainty, and direction. It's also worth mentioning that as you continue to move forward with immense amounts of whether it be anxiety, stress, anger, resentment, it's incredibly, energetically exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. How do you begin to even imagine summiting your mountain, carrying all of this excess weight in the form of these unaddressed or repressed emotions, also lacking the clarity, certainty, direction, self-trust, and confidence you need to get there? It's an impossible task. And what I do when I first connect with a new client on our very first call, it becomes a habitual pattern that we carry out during our time together, is we check in, and I'm going to share the same framework with you on a 0 to 10 scale. 10 being incredibly high, strong, intense, 0 being non-existent. Where do you come in at for assessing your typical levels or experience of anxiety, stress, anger, sadness, confidence, self-trust, patience, joy, and physical energy? This is a low-hanging fruit opportunity to really get clear and to take ownership and begin to accept that, for example, more often than not, are your anxiety levels at a 6 out of 10? Are your stress levels at an 8 out of 10? Is your baseline level of anger a 6 out of 10? Now, you and I each understand that these levels are going to fluctuate, such is life. However, you need to have the tools to be able to troubleshoot on demand. More importantly, the concept and the understanding you need to have is that you and me, we each have what is known as an emotional home. They're the handful, 2, 3, up to 5 emotions that we're so accustomed to experiencing, they feel familiar. Therefore, because you're programmed to seek familiarity, comfort, and predictability to keep you safe, and this is all headed by your subconscious, you continue to engage in patterns of behavior consciously and unconsciously to get your fix of these emotions. The challenge, however, is that your subconscious doesn't discriminate. If anxiety is your default emotion, it's a component, a critical component of your emotional home, you're going to go get that anxiety. Your subconscious doesn't care if anxiety or blissful joy is a part of the chemical makeup of your emotional home. It's going to get you more and more of an experience regardless of what that emotion is. So again, if in your emotional home is anger, you're going to continue to find yourself in situations. You're going to be the sole creator, the co-creator of situations that create an experience of anger for you over and over. And this applies for all of the emotions. And the reason this occurs is because when you were in your sponge-like stage, those first 7 years, as well as all of adolescence and teenage years, you constantly absorbed, and began to create a sense of familiarity and expectation around the different emotions that you experience and were most subjected to in your literal home. Parents, siblings, grandparents, caretakers, whoever it is was an integral part of your upbringing, you essentially absorbed and took in a lot of their emotion and normalized it. So the simple example, if you have an incredibly anxious mother, overly concerned, worrying, be careful, be careful, be careful, there's likely a strong element of that in you as well. If your father was incredibly angry, always yelling, raising his voice, nothing was good enough, just always seemed agitated, life's out to get him, life's unfair, guess what? That was normal. That was familiar for you. You crave that in a way as well. So there's these emotions that need to be addressed, and learning to experience these emotions as a natural default state means you can unlearn them. You can unlearn them. You can more quickly diffuse them. Triggering situations that come up that trigger these emotions can be unlearned, diffused, weakened, so you can more quickly and more effectively reclaim control of your emotional state to clear that metaphorical and literal head fog to help you have and see the path forward to summit your mountain. So that's the low-hanging fruit number one. You've got to address the emotional fog that is in your way. You're not operating at your best. You're not thinking at your best. And the other really relatable example I'll share is if you have a lot of off the course shit going on, whether it's troubles in your marriage, troubles at work, challenges with children, sick, elderly family members, maybe you're grieving a loss of a dear friend or family member. I don't care if you are the best compartmentalizer in the world. You bring your whole self to the course. And inevitably, that outside noise, that emotion you're carrying, it's going to hold you back from playing to your potential on the course. You may be able to get away with it for a little while. You might be able for a little while to use it as fuel in a unique sort of way. But it's a potent, incredibly exhausting exhaustive, high-intensity fuel source that burns white hot and runs out quickly, leaving you depleted, exhausted, and drained, which is not a recipe to play your best golf, which is not a recipe to lead your team, to grow your business. So you've got to address the emotions. And look, candidly, I understand the vast majority of you listening are men. Stereotypically, especially, our parents before us, the generations before us leading up to today, men are emotionally constipated. One of the many superpowers most men develop is the ability to repress, ignore, escape, or hide from emotions. And for a while, it can fuel tenacity, ambition, and an outrageously awesome work ethic. Until it doesn't. Until that superpower inevitably becomes a kryptonite, and you have that emotional bursting, pipe bursting-esque moment, and then you're left to pick up the pieces of the damage you've created. So you've got to address the emotions. You've got to look inward and begin to understand what are the typical emotions you're carrying and experiencing on a regular basis. What are those 2 to 5 default emotions you come back to most often? So here's the extra action step I'll share with you. If you really want to dig in to understand what's within your emotional home. 5 times a day, you're going to have an alarm set. 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 a.m., or 9 p.m. Arbitrary example. Make them 5 evenly times throughout the day. You have an alarm set. Every time that alarm goes off, you have a notes app ready on your phone or you have your journal with you at all times, and you're going to simply answer the question, how does it feel to be me? And you're going to answer that question with a handful of emotions or adjectives. Anxious, I feel anxious. I feel content. I feel focused. I feel angry. I feel sad. Good, fine, okay, bad, or not acceptable answers. And do that for at least 7 days straight. And just start to notice the trends, the patterns. What are the words you are most frequently writing down? You can absolutely repeat them. And just start to see. And there, you can take it a step further. You can continue logging another week. But this time, you can log not only how it feels to be you, what the emotion is you're experiencing. You can also note, what am I doing at this moment? Or what did I just get finished doing? Either one of those being the culprit for why you may feel the way you do. May seem a bit tedious. Can tell you personally and professionally, incredibly impactful and enlightening if you're willing to sit with it and do it. So that's how you can get a lot more clarity around that emotional fog. And once you remove the emotional fog, now you have a path. You've seen other people traverse the summit you're trying to traverse. You see the path. You're prepared. And before we get into the problems you face on the mountain, I think it's incredibly important to address the most common aspect that people get wrong about this quest for next level success. And that problem is an assumption, a misunderstanding, an assumption that the problem is the mountain. Maybe it's the trail, maybe it's the conditioning. And what happens is when a lack of ownership is present, it serves as a catalyst to start looking for a new strategy, a new trail, a better plan, another coach, another book, another swing thought. But here's the truth. The real problem was never the mountain. The real problem is the weight you are carrying in your backpack. Those rocks that I alluded to earlier in your backpack are not the problem. Are the problem. They aren't random. They're organized. They're patterned. They are familiar. And these are what I collectively refer to as destructive mindset programs. And this is what holds every single one of us back. You, me, every single one of us is held back by these collection of destructive mindset programs. Now, a destructive mindset program is an unconscious pattern, an unconscious program. It's an unconscious collection of emotions, beliefs, and behaviors that serve as pre-programmed reactions to particular triggers. And these destructive mindset programs are designed to keep you safe. They keep you safe by creating a familiar, predictable cascade of events that keep you trapped in that cycle of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Now, every single destructive mindset program, from fear of success to fear of failure, to perfectionism, to imposter syndrome, to procrastination, to performance anxiety, all contain the same core elements, which is good. It allows us to break each of them down into these constituent parts or these constituent elements. They arise with a trigger. When a triggering situation is experienced, that triggers a flood of emotion, or again, energy in motion, which permeates into your beliefs, how you talk to and about yourself, which influences your thoughts, your behaviors, ultimately shaping your results and your identity. So this understanding destructive mindset programs, uncovering them, unlearning and dismantling them. This is the work I've been referring to. And I've constantly referred to the past 100 or so episodes of this podcast. You need to understand what causes you to remain stuck in a pattern of unconscious reaction so that you can make the subtle yet significant shift, significant upgrade from unconscious reaction, automaticity, to conscious response. The only difference, aside from the subtleties in my word choice, is a moment of pause. That pause invites in clarity, autonomy, and opportunity. An opportunity to think, feel, believe, and do different. Because if you want to achieve different, you need to think, do, believe, and be different. Different just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It is. It is unfamiliar, foreign, novel, perhaps. It just is. It just is. The more you can find, the more you can begin to intentionally seek feeling different, thinking different, doing different, being different, the faster you will be able to summit your mountain. That feeling of different, allow it to be your northern star, your guiding light. Because again, if you want to achieve different, you need to think, believe, feel, do, and be different. So I want you to pause for a moment and think about the big goal you've set for yourself this year. Whether it's a goal in the course, it's a goal in your business, a goal in your personal development health journey, a goal in your marriage or relationship, a goal in your parenting. And candidly, I strongly encourage you to have a clear-cut goal in each of those domains of life. What has your experience in the past trying to summit that mountain been like? Where are you most likely to stop your ascension? Do you stop before you get started? Do you spend all this time planning, designing the perfect workout routine, building the perfect calendar with date nights, family time, golf practice, round with the boys, and never execute? Do you get 3-4 weeks of consistency under your belt? Start to notice progress, and then dial your intensity, dial your consistency back a few notches? Because, oh shit, there's a story underneath that, oh my gosh, if I continue at this pace, I'm going to have so much success. I'm going to reach my goals. Who am I if I do that? Oh my God, it's scary. Ugh. So you regress. Do you make a significant chunk of progress towards summiting your mountain, only to find it boring, taking longer than you thought, feeling harder than you thought, and desperate for novelty, desperate for newness, desperate to feel something, choose a new path. New book, new coach, new swing thought, new business, new widget. Pivoting for the sake of pivoting when really you're so much closer to the summit than you think. It's that final 5 to 10% push that's really the most demanding, but you're closer than you think. If you know how to summit your mountain, you know what to do. You've prioritized your calendar and the people you need around you appropriately. And you still feel as if you're spinning your wheels 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's not a lack of knowledge problem. I'm here to tell you it's a mindset problem. There is a belief, a fear, and an emotion, and likely many of each, that are holding you back. Every single one of us experiences that resistance at different points in the journey. Some of us struggle to get started. Some of us struggle to sustain the strong effort we begin with. Some of us get so close to the top that we get so scared about who we're becoming, or we find a way to convince ourselves that, this is good enough. It's better than most. All of these circumstances feed the inner voice within that you have to hear during those quiet moments at night when you can't sleep, that you're destined for more. You're capable of more. You're deserving of more. And this is the kick in the ass you need to take a mental and emotional inventory. Where do you continue to come up short on your journey to summiting the mountain? What part of the journey is a pattern, a theme, perhaps in multiple domains of your life, in which you get stuck? I'll tell you about a client of mine, an example. Client's a hell of a golfer. I think he's a 3 handicap. He is an incredibly successful business owner and entrepreneur, proud father of 3 kids. And his entire life, his mom and dad, his mom in particular, constantly told everybody around him how perfect he was. And if you're a parent, you probably get this. You think your child is just so precious, perfect, the best, can do no wrong. Or hell, that's how I'm feeling right now with my 13-month-old. This was a pattern, not just for when my client was a baby, into his elementary years, middle school, high school years. This kid could do no wrong. He was perfect. And although his mother had the best of intentions, let's call it what it is, smothering him with love, telling him how amazing he was, on the inside, a different story was created. He had to be perfect. Well, if mom says I'm this, well then I have to be. And you can imagine the intense inner pressure that began to build as my client transitioned from elementary school, got older into his teenage years. This pressure to always take first place. This pressure to always bring home straight A's. This pressure to get into the best colleges, to get the best job, to make the most amount of money. And for a while, on paper, my client's success, his resume, work, professionally, his life resume looked immaculate. Went to one of the best colleges. Was one of the original first hires of an incredibly successful company that sold for a lot of money. Yet after this experience, here he was, married, a couple young kids at the time, burnt out, lost, exhausted physically, emotionally, had stopped taking care of himself, could not bear the thought of putting himself out there for a new job, a new opportunity, had not golfed nearly the amount he used to because he was shying away from competitive experiences, shying away from tournaments, leagues, and whatnot, because he was afraid if he stood out and wasn't perfect, he wouldn't have love. He would be judged. He wouldn't fit the standard, the facade of a version of himself his mother had created, this perfect person, because he knew deep down he wasn't perfect. Neither am I, neither are you. We're perfectly imperfect. But he continued to have this story, this belief that he had to be perfect. And when life showed him there were many instances he was imperfect, when things didn't fall in his favor, slowly but surely, it exhausted him to the point that he stopped even trying to stand out. He stopped taking risks. He stopped engaging in opportunities. And that tenacity, that ambition that was once fueled by perfection, now suddenly was showing up as exhaustion, burnout, overwhelm, crippling anxiety. And as you can imagine, professionally, he was at a standstill. Personally, unfulfilled, stagnant, plateaued, unfulfilled, disconnected. And it wasn't until we began to dig in and understand and reconnect with, re-experience the emotional toll, some of these moments where these belief patterns and behaviors around perfectionism originated, that he was able to find that courage and confidence. That courage and confidence didn't go anywhere. It was always within him. But what I'm getting at here is he became so bogged down by this fog of anxiety of doing anything less than perfect. And that anxiety, that emotional fog, led to a lack of trust, a lack of confidence, a lack of clarity, certainty, and direction, like I alluded to in the climbing the mountain example to begin this podcast. And once we removed that fog, we were better able to see the destructive mindset program that was at play here, this perfectionism, this belief that I'm only good enough if I'm perfect, I'm only worthy of love if I'm perfect, was really at the core of why he was feeling stuck and no longer taking the risk and pursuing the opportunities that once brought him immense success, joy, fulfillment, and contentment. And as we began to unlearn these patterns, suddenly he started taking more of these risks. More importantly, he got his energy back, his mojo, if you will, his confidence, to the point where he branched out on his own and started a new company, where his marriage is thriving. He's taking care of himself. And oh, by the way, he won multiple golf tournaments and took second place in his annual golf league in 2025. Lots of phenomenal progress. I share that example to just highlight the stepwise fashion in which we addressed helping him get unstuck and out of his own way to achieve his potential. We cleared the emotional fog. We got clear on the pattern that was holding him back. He knew what to do to start a business, to take his golf game to the next level, yada, yada, yada. He felt stuck, unable to do it. We had to remove the emotional flag. We had to unlearn after identifying the pattern of thinking, doing, feeling, believing, behaving that was holding him back, and choose different. Lean into different. Thinking, feeling, doing, being different. And he got a lot of different results. So that's what I want to leave you with today. I hope you'll listen to it again. And I hope you'll get really clear about where on past attempts to summit your own mountain, on or off the course, you found yourself stopping, coming up short, stopping before starting, getting close to the top and stalling and turning around. There's 1,000,001 ways to hike your mountain. There's probably 1,000,001 people who have hiked that same mountain before you. It can be done. You know it can be done. There's a map. There's a blueprint. And the fastest way to traverse that summit is to not only have the map, the blueprint, the clarity about where to go, how to get there. It's to have the accountability, the coaching, the mentorship along the way to help you spot these patterns, to hold you accountable, and to help you optimize inside and out the peak performance routine you need to summit that mountain and achieve your next level success. And if what I've shared with you today or on any past episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset podcast has resonated with you, and you're ready to clear your emotional fog, to not get 90% of the way there and settle and turn around, you're ready to get unstuck and out of your own way, then I encourage you, I invite you, use that link in the show notes, schedule a mindset coaching discovery call with me. I look forward to it. I thank you so much for listening. I'm excited for the guests that are in the pipeline here every Thursday, continuing with our weekly Thursday episode, having a phenomenal guest on, weekly solo episode on Monday. Each Monday, once a month rather, on a Monday, I'll also be sharing the recap of the previous 30 days of my golf journey. A lot of moving parts. The putter is hot lately. I will share that. Coaching officially will begin in a consistent capacity the way I know I need it and want it to reach my goals in the next 7 to 10 days. Excited to share more about that. I'm excited for you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. I hope you will re-listen. You take notes. Most importantly, take action on the notes, the example action steps and exercises I shared with you. Wishing you the best. Have a strong start to the week and the year. And I'll catch you on Thursday in the next episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset podcast. See you then.